So, I mean, Arrow then, a fantastic first season. But, I mean, do you feel like the show kind of evolved as it went along throughout that first run of episodes?
Yeah, absolutely. I went back recently and I watched the second episode just aired in America. And, you know, I got the inkling, sort of the itch to refamiliarize myself. And it's an entirely different show. It's, you know, there's like a bad guy of the week. There's voiceover. There's, which was... You know, Diggle became my voiceover, basically. You know, there are so many aspects of the show that are different. I mean, the fundamental pieces are there, but, you know, by the time we had aired in America, we were shooting our 10th episode. And our first 12 episodes had 12 different directors. And, you know, it's also the learning curve of, we had 17 days to shoot the pilot, and then you go into production, you have 8. So I'd like to think that we, you know, came through that first stretch relatively unscathed, with our audience intact, and that we then, you know, figured out all the things that worked and kept them, and took some of the stuff that didn't work and discarded it, and you know, the finished product by the end of season 1 was something that we can be really proud of.
And one of the things that definitely worked was kind of the expanding of Team Arrow, where you're adding in kind of Diggle and Felicity. I mean, what do you think they add to the show?
Well, Felicity immediately in the 3rd episode, when she showed up, presented a dynamic for Oliver that we really hadn't seen. He smiled when he saw her, and that was actually that wasn't Oliver, that was me. That was quite natural. I thought that Emily was charming, and that the way that she was delivering her dialogue was really interesting. And having them as a team, you know, having more of a dynamic there. And really a team. By the end of the first season, we really see them all operate in concert with one another, and not with Oliver as this sort of impetuous, stubborn, myopic dictator, which we saw a little bit in the early going. It was, you know, it was constantly me saying one thing and Diggle looking at me going, "Really? Is that the way you want to do things?" Bringing in different elements and different opinions is always good for business.
And it was a brilliant season finale as well, with a really shocking moment, which was the death of Tommy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how do you think that's going to affect Oliver going into season 2?
Fundamentally, I mean, the idea, you know, and to do something that drastic, and kill off a character that everyone enjoyed as much as Colin Donnell is a risky thing, and it's to inform the entire second season. It's to really show that this version of Oliver that we saw in the first season was an incomplete model, and that, you know, him being stubborn and him chasing after revenge and him doing this for reasons that weren't necessarily virtuous ultimately cost him. You know, cost many people their lives, I'm sure, in the Glades, and cost him his best friend. You know, that's a bitter pill to swallow. And we are going to find everybody, as a result of that event in particular, in a very, very different place in season 2.
I think you've now become sort of the definitive Green Arrow in a lot of sort of comic book fans' eyes. Mm-hmm. And there's been a lot of talk recently about a Justice League movie. Yeah. So if you were approached to be part of that, would you be interested in doing that?
I'd sweep the floors. No, I mean, any opportunity to be a part of a Justice League movie, as Green Arrow or otherwise, it would be really exciting. But you know, it doesn't always have to. It doesn't have to be a movie. I mean, you know, we're working in concert with DC, and the better that we do, the more successful our show is, the more opportunities that we are going to get to perhaps have members of the Justice League on our show. Okay. So whether they all band together, that remains to be seen. But that's a very intriguing prospect for somewhere down the road.